This tutorial is going to cover live paint, and you would utilize this if you wanted to create boundaries of areas that you could drop paint into. So if you just have a shape, it's already an enclosed space, and therefore you wouldn't need to tell Illustrator, think of these as boundaries. It already thinks of them as boundaries, so I could just pick a color and drop it in, right? It's already defined as an area. But if you were drawing something and it wasn't defined as an area, you would use something called live paint. So let me give you a scenario. If this is my paper and I just kind of divided it up into some segments. And I could use straight lines, I could come in and draw with my pencil. And let's say I wanted to fill in each of these areas with a different color. I need to define boundaries. Now, Illustrator does not allow you to define the paper as boundaries, so you have to create a rectangle for that. So I'm also going to draw a rectangle around my page. Now I have lines kind of showing different areas, defining that space, but I have to tell Illustrator, consider this an area that I can fill in with paint. So the first step is make those boundaries. The second step is to select the boundaries. So I'm just going to select all of these. You can scroll around it, or if you have to go in and individually choose things, you can also hold your Shift key and select each object. So I'm holding my Shift key and I can click on each of these objects. Under your object menu, there is an option for live paint, and you can make this be a live paint group. Click. Now, if I try to click on, any one of these objects individually, it selects the entire group because now Illustrator thinks of this as an entire group, a live paint group. It's no longer a line, it's no longer a rectangle, it's a live paint group. Okay, hidden underneath your shape builder tool. So this is what you see as the default. If you click hold, there's a hidden tool called the live paint bucket. And now when I hover above the different areas, you can see it's highlighting it with a red outline. That's just showing me that I have these areas. Now, let me go ahead and make a mistake here. Let me move this anchor point in and get that live paint bucket. Notice how now I don't have this area anymore, and that's because there's a hole in it. It bleeds through. So if your boundaries don't touch and enclose a space, Illustrator won't see that as an enclosed area. So if you ever have an open area and you can't figure it out, most likely there's just a hole somewhere. So fix that hole, and then you should see the different areas. Okay, so now all I have to do is pick my colors. So let's say I want an area of red. I pick red, I get my paint bucket, and now I can drop red into different sections. Let's say I want to switch over to be blue. I can drop in blue, and I can also go redo a section. If I don't want a color at all, I can also pick none, and I can take away that color. There will be no color fill. All right. Now, let's say that I have decided I want to divide this up. So I'm going to draw a line. But notice how it is not becoming a boundary. And that's because I haven't told Illustrator also make that line part of this live paint group. All right, I still see this big blue section highlighting. What I have to do is I have to select that line that I just drew, hold my Shift key, and also get the entire live paint group. Go to my object menu, live paint, and now there's an option not just to make it, but to merge it. And what I'm telling Illustrator to do is take that extra line, that last line that I drew, merge it into the live paint group I've already made. Now I should see two boundaries. Yep. There it is. So if I want to pick a color, click off of this, pick a color, say I want to do green, live paint, bucket. I can drop, oh, just kidding, there's green. Pick green, drop green in there. If you ever want to release your live paint, so let's say I no longer want all of these lines to be boundaries, if you do hit release, so live paint release, your fill goes away. I'm going to step back and put my fill back. Live paint, expand. It is no longer a live paint group. It's just the paint that I've already filled in is now a group. Okay, I can object ungroup it. And now there are different painted sections. This is still a group. It's telling me it's still a group. I can object ungroup. And I can break that apart as well.